What's going on there, guys? It's Mac. Hope you guys are well. Welcome to episode 28 of the game pickup series. This episode will be based on all my pickups for the month of February 2021, and we're just coming out of January. Some of these games I picked up were in January as well, but they basically just delivered in February, so I just thought I'll just bundle them together. And during this period I was actually focusing on a specific subset of games. As you can see from the title, it is obviously Resident Evil, so I wanted to get into that franchise and really go for the full set, as well as the oddball releases like the spin-off games that were all centered around that. And it was quite confusing initially. I was trying to work out which one was the best system to get it on, because I didn't want to go with just like some on Xbox, some on the Switch, some on Sony platforms. I wanted to keep it all in one system for the most part, as much as I can. And obviously with these games, the way they span across multiple platforms, a lot of the older mainline series have actually been remade for the newer generation system, so I wanted them to be working on the newer generation system. But then I was like, okay, which games actually are part of this same brand? And I actually found that a lot of the old school Resident Evil games, some of the spin-off games that were like on-rail shooters, they were exclusively released on Sony platforms. I'm talking PS2, so they never came out on the PC, they never came out on Microsoft, they just came out on the PS2 exclusively. So I was like, okay, that forced me to go with the Sony platform. And obviously Sony being backwards compatible with all the PS4 games means that all of the Resident Evil games that are now on there will be working on the PS5, and I'm actually looking forward to playing a bunch of those VR experiences that they are also exclusively on the PS4/PS5. So I'm actually was more pushed towards the Sony platform in regards to that. And things like Resident Evil 7, which is all based in VR, is like an exclusive feature for Sony platforms, because Xbox doesn't have that. So they have more opportunity for they have more features on the Sony platform, as well as it being exclusively on as well as the other games that were exclusively on the Sony platforms, which includes PS2, PS3 and the PS4/PS5, and including PS1 as well. So there's quite a few games here. I'm going to show the whole itinerary of the games that I looked at through the Wikipedia list, and I was actually targeting pretty much all of the up-to-date remixed latest versions of those games, so nothing that will be old and outdated. I tried to go for the latest version because I'm actually going to be jumping into this series for the first time, so I really want to play the best versions of them, and I don't really want to go for the clunky old school PS1 graphics. They just if it's not a game that I played during that time, I have very little attachment for it, so I really want to play with the most modern style of that game, the most modern remakes like the Resident Evil 2 remake and the Resident Evil 3 remakes, as well as the Resident Evil 1 remakes, the Origins collection that came as a result of that. I also want to play with the modern system controls as well, and on the most highest graphical fidelity that I can find. And obviously with the PS5 having backwards compatible with the PS4, it's going to look really good on the PS5, so I can't wait to play that on the PS5, but I will start playing them on the PS4. So if you didn't know already, the platform of choice for Resident Evil games that I picked was Sony. So that includes Sony PS1, PS2, PS3, as well as PS4/PS5. All the games that are on the PS4 I will be playing on the PS5. I'm just going to play on the PS4 for the time being until I manage to pick up the PS5 in the near future when it finally gets in stock. So a bunch of these games you will see spans that entire Sony platform. I've got a HDMI output. I've got a HDMI adapter for my PS2, which can also play PS1 games, but my PS3 can also play PS1 games via HDMI. So I'm happy with PS1 games and PS3 games working on the PS3. I also picked up the Umbrella Chronicles digitally. These two games specifically, on the Resident Evil Chronicles HD collection, is a game pack and port of the on-rail shooters 2007's Resident Evil The Umbrella Chronicles and 2009's Resident Evil The Dark Side Chronicles, and was released in June 2012 on PlayStation Network exclusively to the PS3. The Biohazard Revival selection in the game was released via digital only in Europe and North America, and via Blu-ray disc in Japan. So Japan got the actual physical release of that game called Biohazard Chronicles HD selection, and I picked up the Resident Evil Chronicles HD collection on the PS3 via digital, and it was difficult trying to get that PS3 back online and getting it all getting the PayPal details into that. It was all a bit of a mess because it's not as good as the way it was with Xbox 360 and Xbox with the new ones, how they have it all in one ecosystem. It seems like Sony has sort of forgotten about the Sony PS3, but I know there are brilliant games on the PS3 and exclusives like this, which is why I wanted to get that up to date and get a few physical games that I normally have digital on that platform, so that it's ready for it. So what I did was that I already got these games on the Wii physically, so I'm happy with that. But now I've basically bought it on the PS3 in the HD version, which is the most latest version of an arcade shooter on a TV in a modern system as well via HD. So it doesn't need like a CRT TV. I can do it with the modern controls as well. So that was my version of having that digitally on there in the highest resolution as well, and these ones are running at a lower resolution as well, so it's good to have that HD version on the PS3. So before we actually get into the full set of my Resident Evil games I picked up in this month, because there's a lot, as you can see, there is a lot of games that I got for the Sony platform, as well as obviously PS2s and PS1s and stuff. You'd be surprised how many Resident Evil games there actually were. It's crazy. But before we get into that, let's just quickly talk about a couple of games that I picked up that are not part of the Resident Evil set. I got these two for the original Xbox, the two original Need for Speed Undergrounds 1 and 2. From the previous generation of Need for Speed games, I think this one was the one that had the most following and the most fan favorite. So that's why I picked those up. I think they're pretty good games. And from the new stuff, I picked up the remaster of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remaster for the Switch, which is cross-platform. I'm having a lot of fun on that. All of my brothers and my cousins, we're just pretty much playing against each other via PS4, PC, and the Switch. All cross-compatible. It's brilliant, and you can play up to like, I think, quite a lot of races. We got about 7 races in the game to 8 races in the game, so we're almost there for the maximum amount of races online, so it's pretty cool. And that's one of the classic Hot Pursuits, Need for Speed Hot Pursuits, that I actually really like, and it's a remaster of the PS3. It's the best version that's currently out for that game, and I think combined with all of these two, I've got the best Need for Speeds from the previous generation. Any new stuff, I'll have a look at it, but to be honest, I'm quite happy with this Need for Speed collection that I have over here. This was an interesting one. I actually picked up Turrican. This is called the Turrican Flashback as a 30th anniversary collection. Very cool set of games out on here. I believe you got 2 games from the Amiga, which is a port that's never been put onto consoles before. So it's Turrican 1 and Turrican 2. And you also got the ports of Super Turrican, which came out on the Super Nintendo, and you got the Mega Turrican port as well, which came out on the Sega Mega Drive. So it's cool to have those 2 games that I really wanted to play on the new format, which has all the, I think it's the easy, you know, when you can rewind the game so that when you're playing it and you get killed, you can just quickly rewind it and carry on rather than having save states and stuff. But this does have save states too as well, so it's really cool for that. So it means that I'm not going to be constantly dying and restarting the game. It gives me the option to save a state and continue at a later time. But it's cool that the rewind feature is really handy because it makes you progress a lot better than having just save states. I've found in previous experience with Super Mario games on the SNES Classic and such. So this is really cool. It's a physical cartridge, nice artwork inside, and you've got the actual physical cartridge over here as well. So it's a very cool game, very sought after, quite expensive on the Mega Drive. So this was like, I think this was about 20 or 30 pounds, I can't remember exactly, but it was a good price, and I was quite happy with the port of it. I only found out about it through the immortal John Hancock did a video about it, and I was like, wow, this is such a cool game, and I've always wanted to play it on the Mega Drive. I've got it on the EverDrive on the Mega Drive, but never got around to fully playing it, and this is a really cool way to play it, so definitely looking forward to playing that. Also, I want to talk about some of the digital games that I've been buying. So I got a bunch of Star Wars games. I bought them on the PS4 because of the whole VR experience. Again, I went with the triple bundle which came out. It's called the EA Star Wars triple bundle that they sold on the PlayStation Store and on the Xbox Store as well. But I bought on the PlayStation Store. It was called so you got Star Wars Squadrons, you got Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Deluxe Edition, and you got Battlefront 2 Celebration Edition, which has every single DLC ever existed on there. So I'm really looking forward to playing that. I didn't want to deal with EA and all of their DLC and their sort of loot boxes and all of that stuff, and it was just a mess. And obviously waiting really pays off because it means you get the full experience at a discounted price. I think the original price was about $79.99, which is a expensive amount, but I got it on a really good discount. I believe it was about, I think it was less than 50 quid. I think it was about 40 something pounds. So a really good deal. It works out to be quite cheap for a bunch of new games, as well as the anniversary, the celebration edition of Battlefront 2. And Squadrons at the moment is quite a new game, so I added them up physically as well. They're quite expensive when you add all three of them up, so that deal was really cool and I just picked it up. It was a really good deal, but it's not available at the moment. So I got it for the Xbox, so I got it for the PS4, which means it will work on my PS5. And I also picked up a bunch of you know, the two racers that were on here. We've got Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. So that came out on the Switch and the PS4 recently, in the Xbox, and the actual PS2 version was Star Wars Racer Revenge, which I actually got here somewhere. So I've actually got this physically as well. It's called Star Wars Racer Revenge. So the original kid from Episode 1 who plays Anakin Skywalker, this was actually his last big thing with Star Wars. He actually was the voice actor in this game, so it was his original voice from that original film. When he grew up, he actually did the voice acting for this Star Wars, and that was the last of him. So I don't think he even acts anymore, so it's really cool to have that. And I want to play on a new system. This will allow me to play on the PS5 because it's actually PS2 title that's been backwards compatible, and it's been put onto the digital front to actually buy, which I'm happy about. I don't mind buying a digital game on the PlayStation as long as it is only obviously offline and it's not part of the PlayStation Now service, which is like their version of Game Pass, which I don't want to do because you're gonna pay like a certain fee per month constantly, and if you don't, your save file of that game as well as the actual game itself becomes locked out. So I don't want my save file and my progress to be locked out at any stage. So this is why I decided to just pick it up digitally. As long as it's available on the PlayStation Store, I'm happy to look into that and actually buy it digitally. And if I can, pick up the physical version. So a bunch of physical PS2 games like Jak. There's a big bundle for 4 Jacks. Jak and Daxter bundle. It's like a massive bundle. I think it's got about 5 games. It's got 4 of the main original, the trilogy, plus 1 extra game, which is like a racer. So you got 2 of the original Jak and Daxter platformer games from the PS2, remastered for the PS4, which also works on the PS5. And you've also got a racer game as well. So that's 4 games, and it was a really cool deal. I just picked it up. It was heavily discounted. I think it was about £12 or something, and normally it's about what, 50 odd pounds. Individually they're quite expensive as well, so really cool to pick that up. So yeah, and back to the Star Wars Racers Revenge and Star Wars Pod Racer. Again, I picked them both up on the PS4 because it was digitally available. I had the PS2 version. This allows me to play on the newer system, so it's all there. And it also goes with the Star Wars trilogy, which I also I'm looking really forward to playing the Jedi game and obviously the Squadrons game in VR. Again, it's a feature that's only available on the PlayStation, so that's why I wait with the Star Wars this triple bundle, not on Xbox but on the PlayStation. so I can get that VR experience. And they've actually recently got Star Wars Battlefront 1 as well, the Ultimate Edition, for like less than £5. I believe it's £4.75. So I'm going to pick that up as well, and that will give me all of the DLC again for that game, all on that one system. Again, I'm a sucker for making sure that all of the games that I pick up, if I'm getting a bunch of variations or series of that same game, or in this case a bunch of Star Wars titles, I like to have them all on one platform ideally. So this is why I go for the best option that's available, the one that gives me the most features. So in this case, Sony has given the VR experiences for Squadrons and such, and I just decided to go with all of the Star Wars games in that platform, and they were on sale as well, so I just got them together and I bundled them up and I bought a bunch of digital games. These specific games, Battlefront 2, Jedi Fallen Order and Squadrons, I'm actually going to pick them up physically when they go really cheap, because they will go really cheap, but at least this allows me to just play them straight away on the console without having to change discs as well, because I've realized as well I'm getting quite lazy with changing discs. So it's cool to have that option there, and when it becomes cheaper I will just buy it physically and I'll have the physical one on the shelf, so I know exactly what games I do have. But it's cool to have them installed on my PS4/PS5 in the future. Also picked up a Metal Slug Anniversary Collection, which is a really huge bundle of pretty much every single Metal Slug game that they've ever released. And then they also had the version of the I think it was the Metal Slug 7 that came out on the DS. They had a remake of that called Double XL or something. So I bought that as well, and I got all the Metal Slug games now on the PS4/PS5. So it's really cool to have that all on that updated platform again. I've been looking really into a lot of PS2 games and having them on the digital front, and then I'm buying them, because as long as the games that I actually physically have on my PS2, I don't mind having them digitally on the PS4/PS5, so I can play them on that modern system and have them all of the save files all be safe on my hard drive, as well as all of the games be on their highest fidelity and coming out on the basically on the highest optimized performance of those games will be played on the PS5 because of the power of the system, obviously. And obviously with PS2 and PS1, and they all have these memory cards, and then the save files can get lost, so I'd rather have them all on the newer platform. So as long as I got them physically, I'm happy to buy them digitally on this storefront. I don't tend to buy digital only unless they're exclusively available digitally, and I can just sort of make a cover for it somehow to have to sort of put on the shelf. But generally I tend to go for a physical version, and then I buy the digital version on the latest platform, as long as it's from the similar platform. So in this case, Sony. So between the PS3 and the PS5, I pretty much will have every single system covered. So quite happy with that. And my PS2 will obviously, the slimline one that I have, will be able to play all of the Sony PS2 exclusives that were on that system that I picked up, which I actually like. And the ones that are not available digitally, I can still play them on there in using that HDMI adapter. So quite happy with that. Quite a lot of games that I bought digitally. So let's now go over to all of the physical Resident Evil games that I picked up over here in this episode. I'm going to actually bring on my good friend Shah, who is available for a Google Duo conversation online. So I'm going to go through this Resident Evil bundle that I've got of all of the mainline series and have a chat with him just to see how his experience is with a bunch of these games, because he's a really big Resident Evil fan. I'm looking forward to playing them on PlayStation platform, because I think Resident Evil looks good on the PlayStation layout, as well as with the new DualSense 5 controller. It's going to be really fun to play these Resident Evil games. So I'm looking really forward to playing it on this platform, and it'll be good to see what DualSense features are added as well on the controller, if any, in the future. Let's bring him on, and this is like a bonus feature for the pickups video. I don't normally bring on a guest on my pickups videos, but in this case, because he's such a super fan of Resident Evil, I really wanted to get his input on the games and the best order to play them on, because I'm obviously jumping into this brand new, so I want to see what his advice is on that, as well as obviously just sort of some of the oddball Resident Evil games that he probably never knew about that I've picked up, and I want to see his reaction on that. So let's get into that. See you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so that was episode 28 of the game pickups video. Appreciate Shah coming on for the Resident Evil portion of this. I think I might split it into two videos for the first bit that I did for the pickups. So episode 28 of my gaming pickups video episode will be split into two parts, I believe. You will have the first half and then you'll have the second half, which is the Resident Evil portion, where I talk about all of my Resident Evil pickups, as well as Shah's input as well on all of that, because he's a veteran on the Resident Evil franchise, so appreciate his input. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching this episode, and that was all of my February pickups for the month of 2021 in February. It's been difficult. I've been doing a lot of pickups over eBay because of the scenario that we're in. It's not the worst thing in the world not being able to go outside, but definitely it's cool to have games to play during this time where everyone's in lockdown and everyone's stuck at home. And hopefully this COVID thing blows over and the vaccines are coming out and we're getting a better position. Alright guys, until next time, take care guys. This is Mac. Peace out.